Good morning, everyone. Welcome to my talk, Transparent Validation in OVS. I am Hariprasad Govindharajan, working for Intel Ireland, and currently I am leading the OVS validation activities from Intel. In this lightning talk, I am going to discuss the various validation activities involved, the challenges we face, and also the future work we planned for OVS going ahead. Thank you so much once again for your time. The OVS project has a development community, and the developers and the contributors are distributed across the globe. Every developer has their own features developed. That means they have their own validation needs, and the requirements also varies for every OVS release. At the same time, OVS is dependent upon DPDK. When DPDK gets new features, then the OVS gets updated as well based on the changes in DPDK. So this all these factors make the common community test plan a necessity. So the primary goal for this common community test plan should ensure that all OVS DPDK functionality gets validated for each release. At the same time, this will provide a visibility on the validation process for each release. The developers can keep tracking of the bugs reported across a common tool, and bug fixes can be shared. So this will improve the OVS project as a whole. The current validation activity, it is based upon two things. So the first one is, whenever there is a DPDK stable release, then I prepare a list of features changed in DPDK which will have an impact on OVS. So based on this, I will prepare a test plan, and then I create some stories in the tracking tool, and then I carry on the validation activity. Apart from this, whenever there is a major OVS release, then I have a master test plan, and that master test plan, based on the master test plan, I will create a list of stories for my various devices. The various devices here will be ICE, I40E, IXDBE, vHost user client devices. For all these devices, I validate features like basic functionalities, performance metrics, jumbo frames, receiver side scaling, partial hardware offloading for physical functions. These are all some example tests. So the master plan, which I already shared in the community few months ago, has the detailed list of every test being carried out. So also I create a virtual functions for these above mentioned devices, and then I make sure that like the basic functionalities, jumbo frames, and partial hardware offloading features are validated. Apart from this, I validate flow control, receive multiple queues, etc. So once any bug, if I end up finding any bug, then I report it in the Jira, and then I share it to my team here. So what we have to do here is that like we have to make sure that bugs are accessed by others in the community. Now we will discuss about the challenges faced while carrying out the validation activities. The first challenge will be gaps in validation. Are we testing every feature? We need to ensure that every feature gets validated and we don't end up missing a feature which might potentially end up as a bug. At this second one, we do have a framework for which is an automation framework, and that automation framework helps us to validate the test cases as much as possible. At the same time, there are test cases which can only be validated manually, and this takes up significant time. We need to look in detail where these manual test cases can be automated where possible. So coming back to the automation framework, this automation framework has to be upgraded frequently. So one upgradation happens whenever there is a new NIC introduced, and the new NIC will have different speed capability, and we need to accommodate that in our existing framework. And DPDK changes. So DPDK undergoes changes frequently. One key change that recently happened, for example, will be deprecating make and using Meson build system for compiling DPDK. This has to be accommodated in our automation framework, and that involved significant work in changing the framework to use Meson to build both the DPDK and then OVS. And another minor challenge or will be using the right driver and firmware version for the NIC. This information or this driver and firmware gets updated frequently, and that has to be tracked to make sure that we don't end up using the old version where certain features might be incompatible. So by looking in, but these are the 5 different key challenges we face when carrying out the validation. The last slide of my presentation talks about future work involved in OVS validation. Here I want to discuss 3 key aspects which are planned to be done as part of future work. So first, to automate as many test cases as possible. This will help us to bring down the validation time and also help us identify the gaps in validation. So we can bridge the gaps as much as possible. Second thing is to keep upgrading the validation framework to accommodate newer NICs and also to accommodate the changes made in DPDK. The final point what I think here will be to agree on a community-wide test plan so that we don't miss any OVS feature being validated. Thank you once again for listening to my talk in OVS validation. If you have any questions, please email me at hariprasad.govindharajan@intel.com. Thank you so much.